Critical Blast, where pop culture gets blasted.
And good evening, everybody out there watching the Critical Blast channel. I am R.D. Carter, Senior Managing Editor for CriticalBlast.com. And last night we had on Bill Williams and a book he does called Punchline. Tonight we have on Ted Sikora, and we're going to talk about a book he's got on Kickstarter right now called Punchline and the Vaude-Villains. And if you're asking who Punchline is, well, I will tell you, he's just the clown to wreck this town. And to help us understand a little bit more about the character and where he's coming from, we have Ted Sikora from Hero Tomorrow Comics. Ted, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So Punchline was a side character for a while there, spinning out of this beautiful little ditty, Tap Dance Killer.
Go ahead.
And he was well received. I mean, tell us about this character.
Okay, so Drayton Hayes, he's a heavyweight boxer who was, going into his history, he was in a big fight, the fight of his life. He was like one of the number of top 5 contenders for the belt, and he was in a match that would have put him into the title match. And some of the people on his team actually sabotaged him. So he was drugged during the fight, and he loses the fight. And then he ends up, testing positive for drugs. So his career is kind of just, upended in a flash. And the Vaude-Villains in Tap Dance Killer know his story, and he's starting to make this comeback tour, as a boxer, but nobody's taking him seriously because of his controversy. So they see him as a person who can go through this process, that they tried on this woman, who became Hurricane Lizzie. So she's a really crazy character in our book. I could maybe show a picture of Lizzie here. So that's Lizzie right there. And the
blue-faced one.
Yeah, that's Lizzie. So she didn't work out, but they're like, look, but she's strong as can be. She can put her hand into a concrete cinder block and just crush it. So
knowing how far away something is.
Well, that's different too. Yeah. So another thing they found out about Lizzie was that she has this ability, because she's always in a straitjacket, but she gets free. She tied knives to the ends of the straitjacket. And then she will whip these knives at somebody. And she did it at the crime lord, Sir Terror. And his life flashed before his eyes, and it stopped this close to his head. And so she was in punishment, but she's like, it wasn't close to him. She's trying to explain her case that I didn't get it close. And the guy who sort of created this metamorphosis in her, Fletcher, says, well, if that wasn't close, show me close. And in his lab, she ties up the knives to her straitjackets, and she's whizzing them at bottles, and they just tip the bottle, ding, without cracking it. So she's got this incredible aim and precision. So her eyes have been enhanced, which is something they just were really shocked about. And so Lizzie's this character that's also kind of coming along, and I would definitely at some point want to do. Maybe she would just get like a one shot potentially, but
her story's very tragic.
Yeah, she's a tragic gal. She had cerebral palsy, and Fletcher attempted to cure her, and that didn't go so well. I don't know if I can pull that one up. Yeah, I think I got it.
Now, she was Fletcher's girl before Fletcher became Fletcher, because all these Vaude-Villains were somebody else before they got given this drug treatment to convert them into the characters they were playing in a musical. They were doing a musical about these criminals.
Righto. So like here we see sort of Fletcher working with Lizzie, and he's putting her under, and we're going to change medicine forever. And then of course he opens it up, and dear God, what have I done to you? I'll cure you, however many times it takes. Oh, the glare is brutal. But anyway, yeah, Lizzie's got a nice little fan base too. Like there's Team Lizzie people, which I'm thrilled about. So that brings us back to Punchline. So they felt he was already in this, excellent shape, a warrior. He could undergo this transformation now that Fletcher felt he had it refined. And that is exactly what they did. And it worked out this time. And Drayton Hayes, he came up with his own name. Like, I know who I want to be. I want to be Punchline. So, and again, this was April of 2018, I think is worth mentioning with the current state of comics.
Yeah. In fact, I remember when I reviewed the single issue and Punchline made his debut, I was like, I can't believe somebody hasn't already created this character, because the name was just out there begging to be taken. And you were the first one I'd seen. And I'm going to have the same issue that you have with Glare.
All right. But it's
punched right through the ceiling.
Yeah. Well, the guy said, Punchline, what are you, some kind of joke? And before he could finish the line, he was hanging from the ceiling dead. So, yeah. I mean, well, and the thing about Punchline is so our other book, Apama, the Undiscovered Animal, it is about a Hungarian ice cream truck driver in Cleveland who unlocks the spirit force of the most savage beast mankind has never known and becomes a superhero. So, and Milo Miller, the co-writer, and I, Benito Gallego does the art. We put out a few issues a year. We're going kind of at I won't say snail's pace, but with indies, it's tough. But it's also good because you can take all the time you need to make sure the book is just rock solid, exactly as you want it. Or I think when you're on a monthly schedule, I think there's got to be, I know there's a lot of compromises that happen because of the speed.
Great shortcuts.
I think that's something us indies can offer. Is if we take the time, there's no reason there's anything in that book that's not perfect. So although trying to be perfect is also a trap, you know what I mean. Anyhow, that's a whole
analysis, a paralysis by analysis, we call it in the IT.
Yeah, right. We don't want that. But so anyway, I had this idea for this heavyweight boxer who becomes a brutal, murderous clown named Punchline to be an Apama villain. Like, that was the original idea. I had that back in like 16 or so. And, we're just telling our Apama story as we have it planned, and it's coming out slowly. And then this whole Tap Dance Killer thing happened. So when we introduced Tap Dance Killer within the pages of Apama right here, I was at New York Comic Con, and people kept asking about this character. They're like, what is her deal? She's really cool. They just love the look of her. And I said, well, that's Nikki St. Clair. She's a mega talented actor she's right there behind me, this mirror thing. She's a mega talented actor who gets cast in a horror show musical as a Tap Dance Killer, but then she can't shake the role and start trying to wipe out the mafia. And then Palma gets stuck in the middle. So I ended up getting so much, images of her were being liked and shared by the thousands on our Facebook page, which was never happening for Apama. And I decided to give her own series. And then I thought, this is the perfect place to introduce Punchline. So that was how that went down. So yeah, as early as 2017, I had it copywritten and did this because the script had been shopped around to some publishers, and I had images of the artwork was done. So, as far as when Punchline was first created, there's plenty of proof on that. And in fact, the guy you had on last night, and I watched the show, I saw his book come out very similar time as ours. And I just saw Punchline, and I looked at the character and I thought, well, that character doesn't look anything like our Punchline, and I assumed that was actually the name of his lead character.
Yeah. And it turns out that.
Right. So then I thought, because I don't know when it was. I looked at I actually bought his trade on Comixology, and I was going through it just kind of, I wanted to make sure we weren't stepping on each other's toes or anything. Because truly, I don't think either one of us could have known about the other when we were starting out. When I read it, I was like, oh, this is the name of the series, like Walking Dead, but there's no Walking Dead character or something like that. So I never felt anything with what those guys were doing was in conflict with what we were doing, and hopefully they felt the same way. Yeah, but then, so our character is a clown-themed mob hench person, let's say, named Punchline. That is the exact same definition of the DC character. So that's a little different.
Yeah, and especially, it was one thing when you both had characters of the same name. Because, you know, Marvel and DC both have a Sandman. Marvel and DC at one time both had a Captain Marvel. In fact, Marvel and DC both have a character named Sabretooth, but DC never uses their Sabretooth anymore. But as soon as I saw that DC was giving Punchline a one-shot, which means now there's a logo and a branding and a trade dress, that enters really into the trademark territory that you know, comic publishers care about.
Yeah, it's a little different now. So you know, I have had some legal counsel on this, and I'm not really at liberty to talk too much about this at all. But it's, you know, we had a half-page ad in the preview guide that was announcing Punchline, our issue 2. If I can show the cover of that here, wherever it might be. Maybe you got it, Andy. I don't know.
I may have it right here.
I got it. So, I mean, that's Tap Dance Killer issue 2, and right there introducing Punchline. So there's no, from everything I've heard, there's nothing, there's no gray area here.
Good. Well, yeah, I've dealt with these stories before, because I know a gentleman who went up against Image Comics because he had a series called Wild Stars, and Image had Wild Star with, you know, trademark and everything on it. One of those titles is still being published and one is not. So Image actually lost out on that one because he was able to prove his case well enough. It didn't even have to go to court. Image just kind of backed out of it because they knew they didn't have it. But now Punchline is going to get his own book. I don't know if it's a one-shot or if it's the first of a continuing series yet.
No, this is it's planned to go 5.
Okay.
5 rounds.
And it's on Kickstarter. There's a video with this. I'm just going to bring the video up right now so we can share that and take a quick look at it here.
Perfect.
And I think I'm going to take the banner off just so that Punchline's not standing in his own way. Now, why is the video not coming out? I shared
Punchline and the Vaude-Villains, a series that changes on a dime from horror to superhero to comedy to supernatural. Punchline and the Vaude-Villains is a series that changes on a dime from horror to superhero to comedy to supernatural. But all of that is grounded in its setting of modern-day Cleveland. At the center of it all is Drayton Hayes, a.k.a. Punchline. He's a heavyweight boxer who was recruited by the Vaude-Villains back in Tap Dance Killer #1 and became a superpowered murderous clown assassin who really knows how to fight. And in fact, there weren't a lot of challenges for Punchline in our last series. That's all changing in this one. He's going to be going up against the main superhero in our universe, Apama, and a new nemesis from beyond the grave. Continuing the art with these characters is the immensely talented Donnie Hadiwijawa. His work is extremely dynamic, and he has a perfect sense of humor and horror that blends magically with the Vaude-Villains. I'm a lifelong comic book collector, especially classic Marvel stuff, and with Hero Tomorrow Comics, we wanted to create a world that was contemporary, but also told in that classic Bronze Age style. I was set up next to the great Jim Shooter at a comic convention. And I said, hey, man, I'd really like to get your take on our stuff. He said, I'll take a look at it, but I got to warn you, I'm going to be honest. About a month later, he sent me a note that said, you can use this quote, Tap Dance Killer is like finding water in the desert. We've had over 75 written reviews about our work. And if there was like a Rotten Tomatoes that compiled comic book reviews, we'd be close to 100%. And then there's this lady.
This is for the Tap Dance Killer. This is the finest bitch in the game. If you are not fucking with the Tap Dance Killer, you are not a comic fan. Get up!
Hero Tomorrow Comics relied heavily on comic book convention sales. And while we've stayed active behind the scenes producing new work, we decided to hold back all releases until conventions started happening again. So with all of us sitting at home with no cons, I decided to turn to Kickstarter to grow this project. At the same time, we're offering a killer slam dunk get on board deal for the entire Hero Tomorrow Comics catalog, or paired with just Tap Dance Killer Volume 1. There's visual representations of all the rewards if you scroll down on this page. The art is already done. I expect to have these out a month or sooner after the campaign ends. Thank you so much for checking out the campaign. Please reserve a reward that looks best for you. And if you have any questions, let me know. In the meantime, stay safe, healthy, and I will talk to you soon.
My mouse is slow. Got to unmute everything,
Okay.
bring it all back down. So that looks great. That's a great video. I've talked with other crowdfunders, and it's amazing how important the video has become for the crowdfunding page, whether it's on Kickstarter or on Indiegogo.
And true that, yeah. Although I was so shocked, like day one, we hit our goal and everything, and the video by the end of the day, the video had been played like 20 times. I was like, people aren't even looking at the video. I put all this time into the video, but I guess that's not a complaint. It's just it was very surprising to me looking at the stats. Well,
you've got to be happy that you got funded on day one. You're almost at 200% on this thing. That's one thing.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have the support we do, and it's Kickstarter is a really cool thing, and I had a real kind of soul searching with this because we've been releasing through Diamond, and it's been great. But it's also because we were able to do Comic Cons. Like half of our revenue comes from Comic Cons. So without the cons, just releasing through Diamond, we were going to be losing on every issue, and there wasn't really going to be a way to make that up because we don't, we don't have a way of reaching that kind of an audience that comes to the conventions. There's just people that want to buy at cons, and they don't necessarily translate to website sales. So, the idea to launch this on Kickstarter seemed like a neat thing to try, because we've always just done trades after all the single issues had been completed on Kickstarter. So that's what we're going to give a shot here, and looks like it could be a good model for us going forward. And I believe what I'll do next time is I'm running it by some store owners, and I'll get your take on this too. Because do you own a store? You had a store?
I do not own a store. I'm actually the least qualified person to talk about comics in the world, other than I've been reading them for 45 years, and I've worked in some stores as like a guy in high school who just showed up and started stacking books on the shelves, and
gotcha.
They paid me for it.
So I have been asking some of my friends in the retail business, if I ran a Kickstarter the same month it was in solicitation in the preview guide, how would that hit you, and what would you feel about it? And they understand I got to do what I got to do, and they said, as long as there's like maybe exclusives on both sides, you're good. And I think that makes a lot of sense. So I'm starting to think about that. Like the diamond will be different from the Kickstarter offering, but the promotion is all happening at the same time.
Yeah, sometimes they're happy if it's just got a different cover. Than Kickstarter. So the Kickstarter's exclusive, and a lot of times the retailers care less about that than the backers do. I know that there have been plenty of people we've talked with who have retailer tiers in their campaigns. So where it's like, hey, if you were a brick and mortar campaign here, get 5 copies of this at a steep discount, and it all comes in one package, so the shipping is saved on that. So they work around for that. Is there a reason why you have a preference to Kickstarter over Indiegogo when it comes to crowdfunding?
Well, we started there. This is our 4th. So once you have an audience established on one of these platforms, it's very beneficial to stay with them. A lot of people will do like an extended run on Indiegogo, which is something I've considered, but by the end of a Kickstarter, you're just wiped out, and it's the last thing I want to do is like start another one, so For better or worse, I felt Kickstarter was a little more comic centric, but I may be wrong about that. It just kind of what we originally made that decision, and now we're there.
Well, they have their advantages and disadvantages. I mean, as a presenter, I like that Kickstarter automatically updates its dollar value little scroller here, especially when it's a night for a kickoff. I don't have to keep refreshing the screen. Indiegogo, you got to keep refreshing the screen.
Okay.
But on the other hand, as a backer, I have to have sticky notes because I do everything with my PayPal card, which I keep very minimal funds in. I look at it, I say, do I have money in PayPal? Yes, I'll use it. So if I do a Kickstarter, I've got to put a little sticky note that says, I need to have $12 in PayPal on October 30th.
Yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah. Whereas Indiegogo just says, you want to pay money to us? We'll take it now. Thank you very much. And if we don't back it, we'll send it back to you later.
Yeah, and on this one, almost all of our rewards, the shipping's included in the price you see, which I think can sometimes get a little confusing too. And I've seen some now where they actually add shipping after you're kind of surprised with it at the end of the campaign. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what I signed up for. So
I've never seen them do it on the completion of the campaign. Usually right when you pledge it, they know what it's going to ship. But you're right, though, if they do start adding stretch goals and making that package thicker, then your shipping can end up going up, and that could, surprise some people.
Yeah, I just did the, there was the Berserker, the Keanu Reeves one you might have heard of. Yeah.
Some guy, weird name. He's got into comics. I hope he does well with it.
Well, and so I backed that one, but I did at the end. It was like, okay, so do you want to have it shipped, all 3 volumes at once? That'll be an extra $8. Do you want every one as it comes out? That's an extra $20. Like, all right, I had to pay an extra 8 or 20. That was my choice. You couldn't just, there was no shipping apparently in the cost of the book. So that, I hope that's a practice that doesn't stick around, because I think that's not cool.
Yeah, it's all based on the weight of the book and everything too. And a lot of people are going, the Gemini mailers instead of just slipping it into, I don't want to get it in a U.S. priority envelope.
No, we use really nice boxes that fold over and protect the book. I'm a collector, man. I'm on eBay all the time picking up stuff, so I'm not. I know the value of a good packing job.
Absolutely. So let's take a quick look at the page that's up here. I've already skipped past the just send us money kind of things and PDFs because I like to have a book in my hands, and I know that our readers like that too. So here's the 32-page comic, $10, and what you're telling me is that's $10. No more, no less. It's
delivered to your door.
$10. Shipping is included in all of these prices, everybody watching. And by the way,
if you get down to like the CGC, because I'm doing 9.8 CGCs, and for those I added $10 for shipping because they got to be extra care, and that's more money. But other than that, all of these, if it's just books, what you see is what you pay.
So it's $10, shipping included, 32 pages, Punchline #1, your choice of cover. And there are 2 covers. I'm pointing to the screen like you're all here with me.
Yeah.
So tell us about the 2 covers. Here's the first one as one of 2.
Yep. See, if you scroll down a little further, there's an image that has.
We're going to read the whole comic book here.
Yeah, that's the Apama stuff.
By the way, I want to stop here just a second, guys. And if you want to get my opinion on the quality of these stories,
right? Yes, please tell them.
Tap Dance Killer was voted by the readers of CriticalBlast.com as the best series of the year, and that was 2018. So we feel personally invested in this story.
Oh, I am so grateful. Yes. One more split decision, and then you can take both covers. So on the left. Now, and the other thing, I'm not big on a lot of variants. That kind of drive me crazy because we are trying to do sort of a modern spin on the Bronze Age, and to me, Like if you look at those covers from Amazing Spider-Man between say 100 and 150, like there's no doubt what's going on in those books. You know, It's not some generic pinup. And I hate generic pinup covers. I just hate them. I think it's lazy. I think they stack these things up. They've got, 50 cover artists that have drawn a pinup of Spider-Man, and they'll just throw them on any book, and suckers will go buy them. Well, we don't do that. We so there's a big battle in a casino. Both of these have the casino in it. It's going to be branded that way forever. This first issue was about that. So on the left is Donny Hadiwijawa. He's the series artist. On the right is David Abrevia. I hope I said his last name right. And those are the two covers, So the second one isn't completely colored yet. So it's sort of a flat color technique. Still has to be shaded a bit. Okay. I'll probably tweak both of them before.
They're both gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you ever do tweak the site, give us a big shot of it up here under the other one here, so we can see it in all its glory. But $10 gets you either one of those covers that you just saw, and if you want both, $18. Save $2 because the shipping is still included. So
true that.
And this Kickstarter link is in the description right below, everybody. So if you want to get in on that, just get that right there. And I'm going to just throw it into the chat if you don't want to scroll, so people can just click and go. That's going out to YouTube watchers and Facebook viewers if you are watching on the other stream. So then
we have a nice, if you hadn't seen Apama or Tap Dance Killer, we've got bundles that have both of those included, and doing a really good deal on Tap Dance Killer. It's normally $30, but I think I'm only adding like 22 for that hardcover. So
yeah, Tap Dance Killer and Punchline #1 for $34, folks. This is a Tap Dance Killer is a hear that. That's a hardcover book.
176 pages. Yeah.
Yeah. Five issues into this collection. That is your that should be your featured book, your featured combo right there. $34 gets you a hardcover book and the brand new comic book Punchline and the Vaude-Villains. Now I noticed that it's and the Vaude-Villains, but we're treating this like it's Punchline's book. What role do Sir Terror and play?
I think Tap Dance Killer could have easily been called Tap Dance Killer and the Vaude-Villains, because it really was a team book. And that was sort of what I did a lot of soul searching about. And everybody kept asking me, well, when's Tap Dance Killer 6 coming out? And I, as much as I love that character, issue 2 was really Punchline's book of Tap Dance Killer. Like, it was all his backstory, everything. And, I even made a joke about it on the cover here where, Nikki's saying like, hey, this is my book, what are you doing, man? Move over so I can have you get the idea. So I wanted to I wanted to kind of shift the focus, but she's going to be in it just as much as Punchline was in hers, so in all of these characters. So that's why it is the Vaude-Villains. And, I had a lot of different names I kicked around, but I really had a story with him that I wanted to tell. And he wasn't, as I said, he wasn't challenged in Tap Dance Killer because he's just so, they were taking on a regular mafia type organization. But now it's going to be his supernatural ability versus our superhero Apama, and then this nemesis from beyond the grave who's going to create all kinds of problems for him.
Is this anything before in Apama, because he's had a bunch of supernatural characters?
Well, actually, there's a character. There was something we set up in Tap Dance Killer that could have been missed, but it's coming back. That's all I'll say about that right now.
Be mysterious about it.
Fletcher made an enemy.
Oh, perhaps when he took his trip to South America.
Yes, perhaps.
Yeah, I remember the books I read. So
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So this is this would be, I guess, a flashback to his origin story here.
Well, actually, that's Nikki's dad.
Oh, I was going to say he looked kind of not as punchline-y, thick as
no, that's well, if you remember how the last one ended, her mother was shot, but we didn't really do anything with the father. So they sort of have to kidnap the father. This isn't giving much away because it's the first 3 pages. They kidnap him to bring him in so they can show, hey, mom's okay or whatever, you know. Of course, mom isn't quite okay, which will be the cause of more drama.
Oh no, she's going to get Fletchered.
Well, you know, she sort of was at the end of issue 5 because she was, I guess we can tell as spoiler stuff. She was shot and killed, and he resurrected her, but she was killed for a while. So, yeah, mom's not all there, but in some ways she's more there than she ever was. So she's now going to be, I think, a pretty interesting character too.
That's right. Yep. I'm not going to show it. Window 2. I'm not going
to read it.
You got to read it. You've got to read all of Tap Dance Killer, guys. And
yes.
But do you have to read all of Tap Dance Killer to jump in on Punchline?
You do not. In fact, one of the little tricks I'll reveal here is that the page you have up where, hey, Dad, I want to introduce you to the Vaude-Villains. A new reader is just like Dad in this story. So the new reader is getting introduced and explained who all these characters are, and you're on board. You don't have to have read any of that. It'll catch you all up. So yeah.
Now, you do have one mysterious character who's been floating around since the Tap Dance Killer that just kind of showed up, and I never quite figured out where he came from, or if he had any abilities, or if he's just hanging around because it's fun for him. And that's Uzi Clown. Yeah,
Uzi. Well, I have a whole backstory on him I want to tell, and it may be told in this series, but yeah, I'm just still kind of plotting that around. So I know who he is, and his story will come out. But
and when you're reading Uzi Clown, you have to remember that he speaks with a squeaky voice.
Yeah,
all the time. He never breaks character.
He never breaks his clown voice. Nope.
All right, so we just saw the $34 one gets you the hardcover Tap Dance Killer and Punchline 1. $38, that's only $4 more. Ted, for $4 more, I'm getting a T-shirt.
Well, you don't also get the Tap Dance Killer Volume 1 in that. That's a little.
Right. My bad. My bad. You get the main cover and the variant cover, the T-shirt, your name listed on a shout-out page, and the PDF. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I've seen people do crazy things, but that would have been too crazy.
That would have been too crazy. However, as of recently, and our Kickstarter is one of them, it's beta testing this add-on catalog. So once you select your reward, you have an option to just click an add-on. So maybe you want that T-shirt deal and you want to add Tap Dance Killer Volume 1. You just click that and it's yours. So it's kind of a nice thing that it's really long overdue and everybody's loving it.
And then, of course, you got the 44 digital heavyweight. This is all PDF stuff. This is your Apama Volume 1, 176 pages, Volume 2. Tap Dance. This is everything. That's the whole enchilada in digital form.
Yep.
I'm betting there's going to be a physical one down here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Now this is one that I think people will like, because while hardcovers and softcovers are fun to read and they're nice, they sit on a shelf, a lot of us like to know that we've got the floppy. We've got the actual issue. And here you've got all the Apama single issues, 1 through 11, your choice of covers. That's a nice function. All the Tap Dance Killer single issues and the Punchline cover. So that is, let me see, fingers and toes here, 11 plus 5 is 16 plus 1, 17 comic books for $59. Shipping included in that price. And 6 people have already thought that that's a pretty good deal, so can't argue with that. This one's limited. This one's the heavyweight one. This is the Volume 1 soft cover. Volume 2, this is the 2 soft covers, the hardcover, and the book. So that's not that much more, actually. It's only $10 more to get it in trade paperbacks and hardcovers with the comic book. And I'm guessing that's limited because you have a limited number of hardcovers.
Actually, it's the Apama Volume 1 we're getting pretty low on. And, we'll definitely do a new print run of it at some point, but, I don't want to do it as part of this campaign. That would be kind of brutal.
Oh, yeah. You could, because when you do a new print run, you're going to do an omnibus. You're going to throw them all into one.
Oh man, yeah, I would love to do an omnibus that puts it all chronological. And Bloom too is the book that got delayed because of the shutdown. So that's the story of Apama's nemesis Regina. So that one, yeah, I mean, pretty soon we'll have enough for an omnibus.
Excellent. $99, just under the 100. You've got the Punchline CGC Signature Series.
9.8.
9.8. So this is, help me understand this here. It looks like I'm getting 3 comic books here, and one of them is the.
You're getting one graded, whichever cover you prefer, and then you're also getting reader, loose copies of the main and the variant.
Very cool. So if you like your CGC graded books to put aside, this is a #1 issue. This is Punchline. So there's going to be historical context to this character at some point in the future. I pretty much guarantee it. It's going to be talked about. $100 more. Now we're at $199. Now we're talking some real money for fans. And 5 people have backed this thing. There's $1,000 you're backing right there, Ted. Be drawn into a future Hero Tomorrow comic story, which would be very cool because all the characters, as you've seen here, don't look very cartoonish. They look realistic.
In fact, that guy there is one of the, he paid for that on the Tap Dance Killer campaign.
Well, there you go. In fact, Tap Dance Killer, the lady you've got who does the cosplay of her, you're drawing from her in life, it looks like.
She came after the fact, though, because we made the character and then we had a cosplay contest to see who could best portray her at some of our signings. And a friend of hers recommended Josie Jones. So, yeah, she's dynamite.
There she is.
I like the logo over her too there. It's sort of, you almost made a cover. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
I try to make these borders work for everybody that comes on the show. Sometimes it works. Sometimes I've got to throw them away because they're in the face of everybody.
I'm sure it was no picnic cutting around the Punchline and the Vaude-Villains there. That was a lot.
I use PowerPoint for everything. And I just select it and I say, eliminate background, and it figures out 80% of it most of the time. And I just say, remove that, click.
Okay.
Oh, don't put that back there. Sometimes it's a fight, but this one was not so hard at all. But $199, be drawn into a future story and get both main and variant covers. Ships anywhere in the world. $500. Woo, let's get in on this one now. You got your 9.8. You got your variant and main covers. You got your hardcover. You got your 2 soft covers. You got the T-shirt. You've got the Vaude-Villains digital PDF, and you get drawn into a future story. Do you get a kitchen sink with this, Ted?
Yes.
Because that is the last one. That's everything. That's the whole enchilada right there.
Yeah, it's multiple copies of a lot of stuff too. So you actually get 5 shirts of your choice, I believe. I gotta look.
I'm looking here. So it's a Punchline.
It says one. You know what? It might be in the. So if you scroll down further, we have actual images that show the rewards, and in there, if you go down to the promoter, it says 5 shirts of your choice from the Hero Tomorrow Comics catalog.
Okay. So it's not listed here, but it is listed in the.
Yeah.
So you get your 5 shirts of your choice from the Hero Tomorrow catalog, of which this is one of them.
Yeah, we have an Apama, we got a Tap Dance Killer, and now we got a Punchline.
Oh, well, I wish I had $500 just sitting around right now. Soon. I need some more of that.
For the 38 there, you get your shirt, you get both covers, you're good because you already got a lot of this stuff.
This is true. I'm overbuying. Thank you for making me not spend money with you, Ted.
I mean, I'm a terrible salesman.
You're right. I have everything up to this point here. And I'm glad I'm going to be able to delve back into this universe because, as you said, you've had to cut back on production because of all the convention shutdowns. And so, yep, I found where I'm going to be backing in at. I've got to get my Punchline shirt. That's just too write that down, $38.
The Knockout. And it was named Knockout because when you have that shirt on, you will be a knockout.
Absolutely.
You will look like a knockout.
But now I'm going to have to, you know what I'm going to have to do though? Once I get this, I'm going to have to go to the a la carte section, the add-ons, and I'm going to have to get one of those Tap Dance Killer shirts and one of those Apama shirts.
And I want to say one thing about our shirts. We do not skimp on fabric. These are those softest shirt in your drawer shirts.
Oh,
and
yes.
Anytime we sell shirts at cons, people don't even know who our characters are. They're just like, oh, look at that shirt. And I'm like, yeah, now feel that fabric. And they're like, oh my goodness. Yeah. So just so you know, you are not getting some crappy fabric shirt that we're just trying to push out. We want you to wear these things and we want you to feel good when you wear them. Very
cool. So you're funded. This has obviously got, let's see, how many more? Scroll all the way back up to the top. It's got 22 days to go. How much of this project is in a finished state?
The book is fully illustrated. It is, sorry, my dog was barking there. I'm going to shut the door here. It was just.
He wants to join in here.
She's crazy. All right. It's over half colored and the lettering is very close to done too. So I expect, you know, the campaign ends mid-November. I expect these to be shipped in December.
So that's very quick. Very quick.
Yeah, it's really close to done.
Perfect. So everybody, I'm urging you to go down and click the Kickstarter link. Click the Kickstarter link. It's easy for me to say. And get in on one of these deals here. Get in on the very least. Get in on the knockout deal. Get your T-shirt and get your other stuff. Or get the hardcover book. You will not be displeased with this book. I offer you my personal guarantee on that one.
Thanks. And we obviously we sell those also on our website, herotomorrow.com. So if somebody just wants to, bypass that, if they wanted to just go to Tap Dance Killer, can do that. They can do that.
And the other thing I like is that your tiers, everything that you add to your tier is something of immense, not immense value, but you're not giving away like, hey, get 3 stickers with the next tier up. I like stickers. Stickers are cool. I would put a Punchline sticker on the back of my laptop case here in a heartbeat. And especially a Tap Dance Killer sticker would look.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. We've not done stickers yet. We've done buttons, but
Sticker Mule. Sticker Mule will do you die cut stickers for the cost of a donut, and they're cheap. They're highly recommended. I know that this is a circle. No big deal because that's our badge. But they do. They will do the die cut sticker and they do the die cut acrylics.
You talking about this one?
Yeah,
look at that thing shines. I mean, it's like an infinity stone.
We can both. But Sticker Mule, I don't get paid by Sticker Mule, by the way. They'll also do die cut around something if you.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
This is the acrylic keychains they did for Jim Balance Kickstarter project, Tarot, which is Black Rose. So yeah, I mean, if you would have a whole stack of like full-bodied Nickies just in a pose, and it'd be a little border around them. Yeah.
All right. Well, it seems like it'd be a great thing to have at conventions.
Absolutely. That's why I got this stack.
If they ever happen again, I'm not too hopeful on that anytime soon, unfortunately.
All right. Well, we are hitting the 45-minute mark here, Ted. So I appreciate you coming on the show. Is there anything that I did not ask about Punchline that you need to tell people?
No, thanks so much for having me on and really for the enthusiasm towards the previous series. And I'm sure we won't let you down with this one. That's it, man. Thank you.
All right. I'm in for it. Everybody in the chat, thanks for coming. If you're watching the replay, this is Ted Sikora with Hero Tomorrow Comics. The Kickstarter is Punchline and the Vaude-Villains. Get out there and back this one before it ends. It's got 22 days to go as of right now. It is double funded, so it is going to happen. You're not going to be throwing your money at something that's a guess. This is going to happen. Everybody, thank you for coming.